Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is the Chief Marketing Officer of Cardone Ventures. He's had an extensive career path in traditional broadcasting, television, and radio as an on-air personality. His expertise includes media, content distribution, and marketing, to name a few. He was an executive for the world's largest advertising group, WWP, and also started his own digital agency. He's worked with some top Fortune 500 companies like Nike, Starbucks, Google, Adidas, Nestle, and more. He is a master of creating communities and engaging people. Please welcome Buck Wise. Hello, Buck.
Woo!
So I'm doing this because I'm totally honored you're a part of this.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
For real.
This is a blessing and an honor for me to join Mupo and Friends. I know we've been trying to connect for so long, and you guys are so busy and I'm so busy, and I'm just happy that we get to share this moment together.
I'm totally jazzed. I'm dying to ask, what made you segue from AOR radio interviews? Because people don't know what AOR is, air on radio. What segued you from the AOR interviews to Cardone Ventures?
Yeah, well, so there was a bit of a trajectory in my life. A lot of leaders and mentors in my life have called me the unicorn utility player, the guy that could kind of do everything. And what I learned was that was a blessing in my life and it was a curse in my life. And the reason it's a blessing is because the moment somebody realizes you have more potential than just the one thing that you were hired for, your ability to grow and scale within an organization is limitless. But the problem is nobody wants to hire a unicorn utility player. Nobody wants to take someone that knows everything. They need one person to do one job really great. And so growing up, I started at 16 years old in iHeartRadio in Tampa, Florida, and I had my own radio show. And so what radio and television taught me was how to build communities, how to nurture and foster organic, authentic relationships. And so that was a lesson that I learned very early on in life. And that's a lesson that's carried on as you look at my career path. That's something that has never gone wrong for me. That's something that has been instilled in every strategy that I've created. And so it was in radio and television that I learned the creative side of content. But what I was missing was strategy. What I was missing was data, understanding how to extrapolate the data, understanding how to take the strategy and apply the creative necessary to build better relationships that are actually trackable so you understand your ROI. And so for me, I noticed there was a massive sort of empty hole in traditional broadcasts when you talk about TV and radio. They didn't understand the value of digital. They didn't understand the value of platforms. And so I took it upon myself to start doing my own digital strategy in TV and radio. They looked at it very competitively when it first started. MySpace, the Facebook, when you had to have a college email, remember that? They looked at it and they said, we don't want you leaving radio. We don't want you turning off your TV to go to these other things. And I looked at it as radio. How do I communicate with people in radio? How do I talk to listeners in radio? What do they do? Do you guys know? What do? They what?
They listen. They call up the phone and they pick up the phone and
They call in, right? So what is this? This is a platform. Yeah, it's a platform. But for some reason now this Facebook and Instagram, and they didn't view it as just another this. They viewed it competitively. So I said, no. If you know radio, you know TSL, time spent listening, is key, right? How long is somebody listening in which quarter hours? That's how before there was what they call personal people meters. That's how they measure radio now, right? PPM. Nielsen uses PPM. Before that, there was Arbitron, and Arbitron used mail. They used mail. You had to write down who you were listening to and how you were listening to it. And so your goal was to increase TSL, time spent listening. So how are you going to do that? I used Facebook. I used all of the platforms that they were afraid of. So then before you know it, I was helping shows like Carson Daly and Nick Cannon. I was helping all of these other radio stars in New York and LA. I was giving their digital strategists all the information on how you create and set appointments in one platform to drive occasions of listening and viewing in the other platforms. You're developing closer proximity to those relationships. So I bridged the gap. And at some point I had to make the decision. I was running digital for CBS radio, and I was doing my own morning show in Detroit, Michigan. And I started a small agency. I was working with the Detroit Tigers. I was working with Valvoline Oil. I started working with a lot of, North American International Auto Show, a lot of small to medium-sized businesses. And I had to make the decision. Do I go traditional, or do I go through this digital transformation? And if you're a data person and you understand traditional revenue was doing this and digital was doing this, I was chasing the money. Money follows attention, attention follows money, right? That's a Grant Cardone quote. So I followed the money, and I went and I started my own agency, and I did that for years before I sold it to my partner. I then had the opportunity. I knew there was, Brandon Dawson, who's the CEO of Cardone Ventures, talks about law of the lid. It's a Maxwell quote, understanding that there's more potential and that you're only going to know and grow as much as what's above you. So I knew growing my own agency and not having the right experience wasn't my end game. It wasn't my stopping point. So I sought out to join one of the world's most innovative brands. I went to Portland, Oregon, where I started working on Nike running. I started working on Nike golf. I started working with Starbucks. I started working with big brands and big digital activations. This is where I learned strategy. So TV and radio, creative, agency side, brand side, strategy. From there, I worked my way up through a small agency. We had 40, 50 employees. I helped them grow and scale their agency to a 200-person agency that was acquired by WPP, the world's largest holding group, where I then became an executive within that group as SVP of Partnerships and Innovation for Wunderman Thompson. Literally, Wunderman Thompson has 40,000 agency employees. This is a massive agency. And so there I learned the importance of data, third-party data, understanding user data, understanding the cycles. And the importance, so my context to my experience is sort of backwards. It's like the data, which I learned later in my career, informs the strategy, which I learned in the middle of my career, which informs the creative, which I learned at the beginning of my career. So I'm lethal now. It just took me going backwards to get there. I've got all the elements of experience that I need to build that perfect marketing strategy. It just took me a long time to get there.
Awesome.
Let's break it down there's a lot of people out there, and they think they know what they're doing, and they don't always, like you said, you can also be doing it backwards or not focusing on the right thing.
Yeah.
For those people who don't understand or have it clear, can you clarify on scaling? You've mentioned words like scale, strategy, and data. The importance of data, for example, in building a business when you're starting out, the scaling and all of that goes into it.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Holly, that's a great question. Can I use my board?
Absolutely. You can whiteboard it.
If they're listening right now, if they're listening and they're not watching, where should they go watch this?
Definitely at mupoentertainment.com. But I also want to say Tuesday nights for me at Cardone Ventures, I think everyone should be a part of that.
Yeah, Owners Live.
Live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. East Coast.
That's right. So here's why data is important. You've heard of these two companies before.
Right.
Amazon and Walmart. Right? You've heard of these two companies before.
Never heard of them, but
never heard of them. Okay, well, let me introduce you to the retail behemoths, Walmart and Amazon. Walmart is just clearing last year's annual revenue over $500 billion. $500 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon, do you know where Amazon's at from a revenue standpoint?
Honestly, no. I only care about Grant Cardone and Cardone Ventures. That's I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with
$235 billion.
Wow.
Catching up very quickly to Walmart. So Walmart's increase this year, 4% increase from last year. Okay. Amazon's increase, that $235 billion, 31% increase. This, right? This versus this. So if you think about this for a moment, Think about this. From Amazon's 235 billion, 9 billion is equated from subscription fees for Amazon users. So why is that important? Because having a subscription to Amazon is a revenue driver for Amazon. They actually don't care about that 9 billion. That 9 billion is very specific to data collection. The only reason that they are surpassing Walmart is because Walmart, when you walk into a store, buy something, walk out, has no idea who you are, what you bought, why you bought it, when you're going to be done with it, and when you need to buy it again. Amazon does. Amazon knows everything about their customer so that they can then optimize the experience to make it faster, easier, more cost-effective. And in the end, brings retention back into the business. Whereas Walmart is a one-stop shop and you're out. Amazon is a two-way street. When you buy, you bring data. You buy, you bring data. That data feeds their algorithms. That data feeds their platforms, their systems, their operations, their automations. It feeds it, constantly feeds. And then it's learning to do it better. Why do you think they created Alexa? They created Alexa for more data. Because they want to know, now they know your shopping habits, but they want to know your living habits. What music do you turn on? When do you turn it on? What time do you turn it off? How come you haven't listened in a week? How come you started listening every day? They want to learn every single behavior that they can, and that is all data that informs. So when you look at your annual revenue and you look at your competitors' annual revenue, who has more data and what are you doing with the data that you do have? That's the key.
Data sounds like a relationship. It's the same thing about
100%.
finding out all you can, how a person feels, what they think, what they like, to be able to better, engage in that relationship. So
yeah, and
data is a relationship with the public.
100% it is. Relationship is the key. It's the name of the game. I worked on a Starbucks campaign, maybe a drink you've heard of, the pumpkin spice latte.
Oh,
I worked on that. I worked on
favorites.
that campaign for 2 years, and Starbucks specifically tasked us to learn who the drinker of a pumpkin spice latte was. And let me tell you, we know, Holly, that it's you. We know because we have point of sale records. We've got third-party credit card information. We know you very well. We know that you own a pair of UGG boots and you can't wait for the temperature to drop below 70 degrees.
I do.
Put them on. See? We know you, Holly. We know you.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's good. You're good.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, yeah, users and relationships are key.
That's very interesting that you said that. So when you started working with Cardone Ventures, right? I know it must be very hard because Brandon and Natalie are very intimidating because they're perfectionists. I want you to just explain to everyone that's watching, because there's going to be a lot of people that have no clue what 10X is, and we're introducing them. So if somebody has a business and they're just starting, or if somebody say you're just starting with a business, you want to monetize it, or even if you don't have a business, but you want to be, I think everybody needs to be a part of Cardone Ventures. So what would you say to them to make them come on board? We're going to put up a link because quite honestly, I think we've increased with Mupo and friends just because of everything you're teaching us too, as well as Elena and Grant and Brandon and Natalie.
Yeah, first let me say that Brandon and Natalie, they first met with me because I had a syndicated radio program. And so that is how we ran across each other's path. They had a podcast where they were talking about their relationship together, and I invited them into the studio to learn a little bit more about them. And it was a really fascinating conversation. I just knew that there was more to this than one interview. There was a draw that was magnetizing. And so, that was how we first met. The way that I would explain to a business owner, first of all, if you're a business owner and you're interested in growing and scaling your business, if you're a business owner that isn't interested in growing and scaling your business, this is not a place for you. 10X is a mentality. It's a mindset. It's a structure to help you grow and scale your business. And that's what Brandon Dawson and the rest of the Cardone Ventures team does. We are here to help you grow your personal, professional, and financial life. And we do that through a variation of programs. Some of those programs are very simple in nature, and they give you better understanding and education of the principles of business that we teach in scaling, the basics of scaling. Other programs are very, very intense. They're in person. They take multiple days. They take months to run through, and they extrapolate more data about your business and give you roadmaps and blueprints for exactly how to create that number that you're trying to create, that goal that you're trying to achieve. So many different variations of how to work with us. The key would be we have to start somewhere. We have to create the relationship. So you tell me about your business, and I'll tell you exactly what you should do for next steps to join and create a new partnership with Cardone Ventures. The easiest way to do that is my Instagram. Just go to instagram.com/aboutbuck, or if you're on the app, just search About Buck and DM me. Say hi. Say I heard you on Mupo and Friends, and I'll say, great, those ladies are fantastic. Let's talk about your business.
All right. And I wanted to ask you, how has the digital audience changed since the pandemic, and what new opportunities have emerged that you feel have a successful path ahead?
Well, there's been a lot of pivots since the pandemic.
Right.
A lot of businesses have been affected differently. And some business owners have had to create new strategies. But I'll tell you this, the pandemic, what it's really done is it has shown us which businesses were set up and fortified and which businesses weren't. So if a business didn't have the right infrastructure, they didn't have the right processes documented in place, you notice those businesses struggled faster and weren't able to recover than businesses that had financial sound, security in their business. They had the right cash flow. They were tracking the right information. So that's the biggest observation that we've made. Our hope is that we can come in with any business and help them before it's too late to grow and scale to the efforts that they need to be at. Hey, look who it is. Brandon Dawson just made.
Hey, Brandon.
Oh my
Hello.
God.
We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have Brandon Dawson from Cardone Ventures.
I got goosebumps.
Wow.
Look, wait.
Oh, what a nice
I'm wearing the
treat.
10X jacket here. I want one of them Cardone Ventures shirts, though,
Yeah. I told her she has to go to our careers page to get one of these shirts and join the organization. That's right.
Well,
she's going to have to start with a 60-second video.
We were just talking about business owners in the pandemic. I talked about the fact that a lot of business owners have had to pivot. What would your advice be to business owners that are struggling right now based on what's taking place?
Yeah, well, the first thing is to reverse engineer how they got themselves there. So when you have sloppy operations, when you're not paying attention to the details, then when there's a crisis or emergency, which is always going to happen in business if you're growing. So all businesses that are in growth mode are in a crisis or emergency because the elements required to grow also put them at risk. So understanding what got you there, reverse engineering that, and then making sure that you go backwards to rebuild forward. So if you're a restaurant, you haven't been tracking your customers or clients, you haven't been capturing their data and information, you haven't been marketing to them digitally, you haven't been texting them on specials and communicating with them, and you're just relying on them coming and going, you're going to find yourself in a crisis or emergency, because as soon as your chef leaves and his reputation or her reputation follows them somewhere else, your clients are going to fall. So if you're the owner, it's your duty, it's your responsibility to be really in tune with the people you transact with and do business with. And so pivoting requires you to do the things that you haven't done in the past so that you can secure your future, but also fix what's happening right now. And I would tell almost all people that the opportunity isn't any less today than it's ever been, but how you go about getting that will be what differentiates your success from people who fail or struggle.
100%.
Mind blown, right,
Michele?
I'm just
absolutely. We love it.
You have no idea. I feel like it's Christmas.
You presented a curriculum, which we attended, called Mentor Rescue, which had a lot of that information that you're sharing. Can you please share with everyone how they can also, if they're interested in that, reach you and join?
Yeah, it'd be his Instagram. Just go to Brandon M. Dawson, and we develop a lot of relationships in DMs. So get on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, go to CardoneVentures.com, and you can definitely sign up, learn more about our programs. The other thing is maybe your book, if they have never downloaded the book.
Yeah, I mean, if you're struggling in business right now, you're afraid, you've got anxiety and stress and fear and all that, then go to CardoneVentures.com/emergency. Download the ebook. We've had 30,000 people that we've helped this year. It'll tell you why you got an emergency in the first place, but it'll tell you what to do immediately to fix it and how to recover. And so this is really 2021 is a recovery year for a majority of businesses. But hey, let's face the facts. Like there's 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses in the United States. 25 million have one employee. 2/3 of them fail within the first 5 years. By definition, all small to mid-sized businesses are in a crisis or emergency. So the value is when you learn how to navigate through that, you will build a big business for sure and create a lot of value.
Incredible. And these are two of the top people, I'm going to say,
no
in the world that you
joke.
can learn from, folks. So if I really would, if you want to start without spending tons of money, doing it all the wrong ways, trial and erroring different people, go to Cardone Ventures and you will be exactly on the right track and you will learn everything. They cover every single thing from the beginning, the inception, the idea, all the way to the fruition. So,
and the exit.
And the exit. Oh my God, this is such a treat.
Yeah, I'm floored, and I'm a walking billboard for Cardone. Personally, like
we know that. Michele, I follow you on Instagram. I see that.
Listen, I am so obsessed that I even have the dogs at Toyota. Like it's pretty comical. I even have them like with some stuff on them. Like I'll cut up a shirt and put it on them and take pictures. And
that's great.
It's a proven fact that if you don't 10x your life, there's no point. Like, and the thing is, you have to get people to actually understand that they can change and they can better their lives. See, a lot of times people think that they can't do it, but they really can. And it's all about setting goals. And one thing that I wanted to ask you guys, because, every time a new social media platform comes out, it's like the next best thing, right? What do you think is going to be the next best thing within the next 3 months? Just out of curiosity, because I'm going to definitely
3 months.
In 3 months to 6 months.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm hoping
I'll tell
you guys
you right
say
now,
it's
if you have
Cardone.
not followed Natalie Workman on TikTok,
Absolutely.
that is the next platform of choice. You'll
I
see
actually followed her on TikTok.
Moving and grooving on Natalie's TikTok. It's pretty entertaining.
I think the next big thing is going to be something that Apple or somebody else, Amazon, can't control the communication. I think people are getting tired of somebody policing what can and can't be said in social media.
Amen to that.
Absolutely.
And I think people are going to gravitate to a platform that will not allow those big powerhouses to control the dialogue.
That's right.
It's true.
Those big companies, they control the data sources that support those platforms. So it'll be interesting to see who the next big data player is that allows for better privacy.
Hey, you said something a minute ago about people who think that they can't get ahead and they just need to change their. So here's something I think all of your viewers should hear. What you think about is what you talk about. What you talk about is what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy. You can't have conflicting thoughts to actions. So if you're struggling, stop thinking about the struggle and start picking the target and start talking and thinking and communicating about the target and stop talking about the struggle. Get anything that's not moving you to target out of your mind and absorb in your mind any element of knowledge or information and take action with that. It will move you to target. So you can't have contracting or conflicting thoughts to action. So just acknowledge that, accept it, and then act on what you want, not on what you don't want. That'll fix your life. Great book, Beyond Positive Thinking by Dr. Robert Anthony. It will change your life.
Amen. Thank you
Awesome.
both for
Hey guys,
joining
thanks for
in.
letting me
It's been
drop
such
in
a
on that.
treat. It is such a treat. Thank you, Brandon.
That
Great
was
to
the
see
best Christmas present I ever had.
Good. I'm so glad you guys got to experience Brandon in person.
Because he's going to be
this
the
has been a
vice
treat for
president.
me too, by the way. I'm super honored that you guys allowed me to come on this prestigious podcast, Zoom talk show that you have, Mupo and Friends. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We're definitely honored.
Thank you. Well, we're very honored and we really appreciate your time. I know you have to go. So before we exit, I usually like to do like a little fill in the sentence, wrap up a quick fun thing. So
Let's
if you
hear it.
don't mind, I'm going to start and you finish the phrase.
Okay.
And I have it right here. The most valuable commodity in the world is?
Family.
The most important part of a daily routine?
Mindset.
A key success tip?
Mindset.
There you have it.
Are they one word or are
Mindset.
they supposed to be longer?
No, that's perfect.
Whatever you comes to you. Yeah.
Mindset.
So,
Brandon talked about it a little bit. The way you think is the way you talk. The way you talk is what you end up doing.
Yep.
And so the minute you catch yourself talking about something that's bad or negative or hard or challenging, realize that it came from here first. Shift that and that'll never happen.
Yeah, we need to get everybody on the red team.
Right.
So,
and for those saying, I can't and I don't know how, stop saying I can't, stop saying I don't know
just
how.
do it.
Something
That's
about
right.
it.
That's right.
Come visit Cardone Ventures. You won't have time to say I can't. I promise you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Totally
Buck Wise,
Definitely,
Chief Marketing
totally
Officer of Cardone Ventures. You can follow him on Instagram at AboutBuck. And until next time, this is Holly Lombardi with our CEO and mastermind, Michele Mupo and Buck Wise. And we are over and out.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.